What's up? Huh? Yeah? Did you see Matt?
Yep. So, how did he come in? How did he come in?
Mom dropped him off.
Oh, and what?
Oh, she's got to clean.
Still cleaning?
In a different place today. You can learn something from that.
What?
So this is your class today? No, it's just come and watch a presentation and be ready for being in class. Did they stream that?
Stream what?
This was not streamed.
What's up? Uh-oh. Streaming with
Hi.
Hi.
I got a new belt.
I'm not playing. So, yeah. Nice, nice.
Yeah, I got birthday.
So, do you want to be a dope?
It'll be this.
Huh?
It'll be the food thing.
Oh.
Oh, this is also being filmed.
Hi. Okay. Where are you gonna sleep? Oh.
Has never crossed.
He said, I don't know.
Are we facing this one?
This one, because they got the camera like that. And I'm like, just got the chairs backwards or something.
I was gonna sit here. I thought you were gonna sit there.
Are we facing? Are we looking towards the food? We're looking towards the food.
Yes.
I mean, I'll look at the food.
I say, I look at it too. I signed it.
I was late to class for my creative writing. Never went.
I was about to say,
But the thing was, I already got my essays done. So like, well, not all of them. I got 5 that I'm not doing. Hi. I got a Garfield pen.
I'm sometimes wondering they take
he's a
private contractors. They probably would do it, but
I don't know how much it is.
it's not just your 2 years there.
And, if you're into anything,
Lost in his.
It's called Evan.
Oh,
You have Evan right, I know.
it's like,
It's called
yeah, I mean-
mainframe. And that's.
that is a grilled cheese.
You just noticed?
I haven't seen it.
Chicken burgers and chicken over.
I've been like harming myself and stuff.
I'm not eating. That's a real thing.
What'd you eat?
Okay, I realize it's
No, I
this.
Oh, I thought that was coffee. I was like, no, you're coffee. Why is that?
Why do you not do it?
Wait, okay, hold your teeth. This is just
No one cares. No one cares.
Okay, it's more even.
I bet you'd think it was hilarious.
This potato.
Oh.
I moved it.
I just got a chicken sandwich.
Did you say Curtis?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Chicken sandwich.
Chicken sandwich.
But it was a salad.
I'm good.
The one
No, I took a first. I took a full.
Sick.
It was the wrong one.
It's like, oh, I just bought this.
This pulled pork goes out the barbecue. You got to have it all. Just pork. Right. Dry pork. Very dry. You know, one thing about the is not
Yeah, we didn't have one, so we're
Not in my bag.
it's amazing and dry. It's not. My most favorite thing at Curtis is the water that's underneath.
yeah, it's with everything.
Plates. The hot plates. That water's you ask for it. Drink it.
It's always the leftover hot dog juice.
Yep.
What?
Nothing. We're talking about hot dog.
I'd send it to my cousin.
That's how you slide it.
That's how he hates for it. He's good to drink hot dog water. And now we drink it every day. Well, that's because of pork.
The whole thing, I don't think we told you yet. This thing. Carry around.
I have two music
Like, I can't wait till I'm old and I have to go to reduce inflation.
How bad was that one?
As long as you're on the right here.
See if I can Well, obviously the top is not set. It feels like it's, yeah. Yeah. I don't like it. Over the taco. I don't like that. Like, yeah, it's cool you were able to find a JPEG, but also still make it look good. Come on. I'm just judging when it comes to stuff like that. Like, that's one thing that, like, it's
Jeff Long put up his flyer. I was like, oh my god, I didn't have the flyer. So as we were talking about this flyer, we did that one. And first thing out of business, man, why is it not center?
did it real fast, too. Just busted it out. Why is it not center? Then you fixed it. I instantly noticed that it was just slightly off to the left. I was like, it feels like it was just 2 pixels to the left. I was like, come on. It sounds so good. Gosh, I'm so fat. That little purse.
When I grow up, I want to be a Curtis cook.
What?
This guy made me know how part of this was. We were working in Winona, and he was behind the front desk, and he was like, I want to grow up to be an RA. I was like, out of everything in the world, I want to grow up to be an RA someday. What the fuck? I can be one right now. Oh shit.
Your conversation
I want to grow up to be a cook for public school.
My brain's conversation. You're saying
Why do you want to be a cook for public school? Because they kept me from it.
Just to hang out with the old guys.
Uncles.
no offense. Oh yeah, no offense to Patrick.
To see what they're doing wrong.
I said old men in general. No offense.
Stop, go to Megan.
We too old to be doing that shit.
Kind of irritates me when we go to school
Like
back home.
getting on a skateboard,
Like
tries
Black
to do
State
it, knees
University.
pop.
And I went there for like a summer camp, and we were able to eat the dog.
That's an ordinary occurrence. What are you talking about? He's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
100 leagues better than him. Like 1,000 leagues better than him. It's the only place I've ever seen chefs in their chef's robes sitting in multiple. All the shit was cooked over here. You come
I
inside
was
your car,
working on,
you
like,
can eat everything you want. They don't care. Like, it was so it was a big line.
Yeah, see, I'll get it one of those before everyone else
I'd
comes
say
in.
from
There
here
ain't gonna be no more reason.
to the back of that wall, in between like the start of this table and that table over there. No, it was bigger than that. To that brick wall, right to that table, is just open. And it was just a line down, like a big view of just places to eat. And it wasn't like Chick-fil-A and stuff like that. It was chefs cooking in front of you. Felt like hibachi. It's like, like you could see them making, tossing pizzas in cups. They had a
Do you
chef
know
for
that new
each
hot pot
meal.
place in Folsom?
That isn't even
Depending on what's in there.
I don't remember. I just remember there was a hot pot place on 71st, I think.
middle.
71st or around 71st.
Am I getting screwed from Mongolian place?
This island had a
Probably.
private chef.
I don't know if it's hot pot. Hot pot's right in the front, right?
Diet foods.
No, hot
You
pot's
could
like
ask
a
for
little
it.
pot.
So if you wanted a sandwich for the he can make you one of the biggest hoagies you'll ever see.
Hot pot is like the little pot.
If you wanted a gyro, that's what you could.
Meat and vegetables.
Oh, that's not a burrito, but you want to do chicken.
I have not been there yet.
Apparently it's a place when I wanted to go, me and my dad, but every time we tried to go, it was,
100 leagues better than
I hate that ice cream. I was like, Dad, ah.
an ice cream machine.
How'd it go?
Oh, I'm a happy boy.
Okay. With the sauce?
He
You
expected
gotta have the sauce. Oh my gosh, I miss Brahms. Me and Angel were talking about yesterday, and she was like, once I mentioned Brahms, she goes, I was like, yeah, I miss Brahms, man. No, you didn't. You been there. I know for a fact you did. But I
I
was
brought some up.
you
So I
like
could
it?
eat it again.
Why are you looking so bad?
Don't worry.
But
Just like me,
You look extra
one thing I
handsome.
miss is the ice cream. Because you can't find any ice cream place that's just as tasty. Except for Culver's. Culver's is like, not even close, but it's a good size.
It's what I call acceptable.
Yes. And it doesn't upset my stomach. I like it.
Actually look like you're from Hawaii.
So,
He basically the entire next semester, the whole gist of it, basically.
I've missed it for so long. I've only been there for like 4 weeks before break started. Or,
Yeah, we're gonna get the balcony.
frick, I can't
I
even
was
get my
like,
shit.
figured I'll be here.
The problem is, I want to go down to Oklahoma very often.
I'll take it.
And I'm willing to go drive down there for whatever. I'm willing to take people with me.
It was like, thank you.
Take me with you.
So,
I don't have the money right now.
Whenever you do. Take
yeah,
me with you.
I'm supposed to be getting my passport.
so
I haven't got my password yet. Still.
after I told him the entire story of like what
What are you doing
happened
after
at
this?
the end, it holds up.
I have art class.
I told him
Amelia?
like
No, 2:30.
What did he
I'll
tell
order
you
soon.
about the other guy? Was he just
Probably something you need to do. You probably have to do your birthday or whatever.
I've already done most of the things. It's just, I talked to Fred about it. I sent her an email. And she's just, okay, I'll look into it because I'm also missing some things. Which I found out that I think
But then,
probably from the other
I
guy?
think the people are doing this often. They're combining it with
Check the computer. Check the computer. The mainframe computer.
I accessed the mainframe.
Check the computer. The mainframe computer.
God damn it, you're in the mainframe.
Please lock us out of the mainframe.
What's that out of the mainframe?
The mainframe is out of the coolant.
You can access the mainframe by remote. I hacked into the mainframe at the bank.
The mainframe.
I can't find a Canadian server. I don't click into the mainframe.
I sent an engineer to check the mainframe. It's like they dumped their entire mainframe onto our fax and into our computer.
Cross-check that bastard's profile with mainframe at Lightning.
Yes, motherfucker.
on the 7 with the POTUS mainframe.
So all we have to do is load it anywhere into the credit union mainframe and it'll do the rest.
Check the computer. The mainframe computer.
I access the mainframe.
Check the computer. The mainframe computer.
God damn it, you're in the mainframe. Data from the mainframe. Data from the mainframe. I can check with the mainframe system.
That would take some sort of super mainframe computer.
There is a vast amount of vital intelligence on that mainframe.
If I could hack my mainframe. To patch into the mainframe.
Did you check the mainframe? It has 18 acres of mainframe computers.
In the mainframe.
Access code to design on mainframe.
No response, sir. We have a complete mainframe meltdown. They've only got the mainframe couplet.
They're the mainframe.
Knox used us to tap into Red Star's mainframe.
Anita.
Yeah.
You're gonna run that against the mainframe for me, okay?
Check the computer. The mainframe computer.
I access the mainframe.
Check the computer. The mainframe computer.
God damn it, you're in the mainframe. Calls on.
What?
Calls on.
What?
Somebody snuck outside.
Go inside, please.
Calls on.
What?
Calls on.
What?
Crap, that ain't cool, man. You couldn't get out.
That's fine.
Atera is the IT painkiller. Remote monitoring and management, remote access, help desk and ticketing, smart animations, patching, software.
All right, thanks everyone for coming today. My name is Phil Southern, and I'm a Haskell alumni and Haskell graduate here from, and I currently work for a company called Broadcom, and I am what's called a mainframe technical consultant. And I have got 3 other representatives from other companies here with me as well. We've got Jeremy Hamilton from BMC, we've got Christina Shearer from Insano, and we've got Dustin Duran from Insano as well. And we'll go a little bit more into what our companies do and why and how we interact with mainframe technologies and why the mainframe is relevant to everybody in the everyday field. Next slide, please. And so here's a little bit of what we're going to go over. We're going to go into just some introductions, mainframe fun facts, the modernization of mainframe, quantum computing in mainframe, AI and mainframe, and also the opportunities and the education that is available for people like yourselves, like students and people looking to potentially see if the mainframe is a career option that they might be interested in. Next slide, please. So, I mentioned that I work for Broadcom. Broadcom, we are a big company. We just purchased another company called VMware. This is just a little bit about some of our numbers, our net value, the investments that we make. Next slide. And a little bit of our history here and the journey that we've gone through as Broadcom. Next slide. And just a little bit how we do class solutions for software development. So I work for what's called the mainframe software division at Broadcom and help with the integration and conversion with our mainframe software products and the success with our customers. Next slide. And here we've got Insano.
Is this on? Okay, there we go. So yeah, Christina and I both work for Insano. This slide's a little bit dated, but we do have, we're a managed service provider. We just manage IT for a lot of clients, approximately 300 and growing every day. We just hit that 1 billion revenue target, and so Christina and I both work in the mainframe. I am a mainframe solution architect, and I'll let you go.
I'm more on the technical side. I do ZOS systems programming and security with RACF. So we run in different circles. I'm more behind the keyboard, he's more in front of the client.
Yep. So that's pretty much the overview of Insono there.
All right, next slide.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeremy Hamilton. I'm what they call a Field Chief Technology Officer for BMC. And I grew up in Oklahoma. Any Cherokees in the house? All right, got some Cherokees. I grew up in Oklahoma. Went to school at Sequoia Indian School in Tahlequah. And after that, made my way. I found my way to BMC and on the mainframe platform. And what BMC does, you can go ahead and click through the animation there. Really, we work with some of the biggest customers that you can think of: insurance companies, retail, financial institutions. So most banks. Anybody have Bank of America, Wells Fargo, those sort of banks? That's the type of banks that we work with. Insurance companies like State Farm and Progressive, all those different types of companies. Now, what do we do? Well, there's really three classifications. The first classification is our BMC Helix. And when you think about it, when you pull up your phone and you want to check your banking account balance, there's a lot of things that's got to happen before that number comes back and says you're a millionaire, right? So it goes from your phone up into the cloud, to some network devices, all the way down to this thing that we're talking about today called the mainframe. And so the Helix part really brings all that together and helps you to understand what's up and what's down, how's it performing. The second piece is around workflow orchestrations, and it's not as complicated as it sounds. Work has to get done. In order for that bank account balance to be checked, or whenever you make a purchase, how much do you owe, then that has to go through a bunch of calculations. And the workflow orchestration helps that to go across the different platforms that are in a customer's environment. And the third piece is the mainframe piece. Now, we cover a broad spectrum of the pieces of the mainframe. Actually, Phil and I are in competition. His company competes directly with mine on the mainframe side of the house. But really, we're trying to keep that mainframe healthy and whole. Now, the Insono folks work with both of us because they're what they call a systems integrator, as you mentioned, and that they're the ones that work with the customer and help them to keep things up and running. So our software is what the customers use, and their company provides the manpower and the expertise.
Next slide. A little bit more there.
That's just some numbers
BMC.
around BMC. You can go on.
Next slide. So, who has ever heard about a mainframe? Who, aside from the video you just watched, who's familiar with what a mainframe is? All right, we got some hands here. All right. So the first thing that I always like to start with is to inform people that mainframe is not a supercomputer. Supercomputers have one very specific job. They try, or not like one specific job, but they take a very, very large process that you're trying to solve. Something very, very complex, very large, and they do it really, really fast. Whereas mainframe do lots and lots of little programs all at once, all really fast. So a supercomputer, like I showed there, was kind of more like a fighter pilot. It's very direct, very specific use cases. Whereas mainframes, whether you guys know it or not, like you interact with mainframe systems every single day. Every time you swipe a credit card, every time you make a purchase, you have that process is going through a mainframe. And so there's a little bit of they do kind of look similar. If you were to see them in a data center, it would be easy to mix them up, but mainframes can either be single cab or multi-cab, and they are very, very efficient and very, very good at what they do. Next slide. So just some numbers here for you. On Instagram, you can take, like it says there, 95 million photos a day, YouTube 5 billion photos, Google 8 billion searches per day, and if we can hit enter one more time, the mainframe can do over 1 trillion secure web transactions a day. So when you look at those numbers, it's pretty impressive what a mainframe is capable of and why they're so important to the world. Because, who heard of the CrowdStrike thing with the cloud? That was pretty impactful to the world. If we were to go in and plug all of the mainframes of the world right now Nobody would be able to purchase a single thing. Money could not move. Even if you were to take cash somewhere and say, I want to pay for something because my bank account's frozen, you still wouldn't be able to do it because the company that would be processing that transaction wouldn't be able to do it because all of their systems would be down too. So very, very important. Next slide.
All right, so just a couple more highlights here. 3 of the benefits of mainframe computing. So mainframes have been around since the 50s. And back then, computers were super expensive. You have more storage on your cell phone, actually, than the first mainframe had when it was first invented. So whenever they built the software back in the 50s, they had to make it super optimized, take advantage of every single bit and byte so that, that way that they could get computing done. Well, think about it. It's been a long time since the 50s. The workloads have grown. The number of users have grown. That code that was super optimized back then is still running in the banks today. So you think about it. There's no way that some code that was coded back 40 years ago could still be in operation. On the mainframe, that's true because it's so optimized. So that's number one. Number 2 is it adapts. So as these workloads grew, as the use cases continue to grow, the mainframe in its architecture has been able to adapt to meet those goals. Otherwise, let's be honest, it would probably be gone by now. And it's green. So as Phil mentioned, it's about the size of a refrigerator. That's the size of a mainframe. Now, if you think of a server would be about the size of a trash can, but every one of those trash cans have to add up into the amount of computing power that's in a mainframe, and it would take a room twice as big as this in order with regular servers to compete with a mainframe. So if you think about something the size of a refrigerator versus something that's twice the size of this room, it's a lot of water, electricity, and space that would have to happen in order to compete with the mainframe. Next slide. So who uses mainframe computers? And I'll say this, you do. Every time you make a purchase, every time you drive a Ford or a GM vehicle, every time that you go to your bank, every time you go to your insurance company, every time you go buy something at, I don't know if I can mention, but Walmart, some of the larger retail stores, grocery stores, all of those are backed by a mainframe. Every time you travel, two of my largest customers are airlines, and those airlines have to keep track of all the different payments that are coming in, all their points rewards programs, and get people to where they need to be. Next slide. So I was once asked in a past talk to explain in very simple terms what a mainframe does. So the way I like to look at it is, everyone used an ATM machine, maybe this week, get a little money out, All right, think of that ATM machine. You go in and you put your ATM card in and say, I want $50. Well, first, that thing has to understand, okay, is this the right password? Can I get to the account, and do you have $50 to withdraw? Then you say, okay, $50. It says, yes, I have $50 to withdraw. And it gives you that money. So already you've done 4 transactions in that one withdrawal. The mainframe is on the back end. It handles that no problem. Next slide. Now you think about that ATM machine that's here on campus or that's somewhere else, and think of all the people that go through that same ATM machine every single day. Every one of them have 4 transactions. Do I have money? Yes. Send me my money back. And all the different ATM machines throughout the city, next slide. And you think about all the ATM machines in the state of Kansas, in the region, in the United States, and all of them for Bank of America, all of them for Citigroup, all of them for Wells Fargo. And the amount of transactions simply blows your mind. It grows and grows and grows. And the only platform that can handle that many transactions is the mainframe computer. That's not only just for ATM machines, it's also for credit cards. So you go pay at a store, then the credit card itself, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, all of them have to handle all the transactions that you and everybody else makes, and the mainframe, again, is the only platform that can handle that. Okay, next slide. But the mainframe is just a piece of a larger ecosystem. But it is the end piece. It's the piece that keeps all the records. It keeps your account balances, it keeps your addresses, it keeps all that pertinent information, And then the other layers across that, all the way back to your mobile phone, really are what enable you to interact with the financial system. That's what makes the mainframe so important, is that if that goes down, if the mainframe wasn't there, then you would really lose the ability to make those transactions in order to get your money, in order to get on your flight.
And to that note, he mentioned an ATM machine, but even just sending money from your bank account to another account, if you've used pay services like PayPal, Venmo, and stuff like that, those often go through a mainframe. Like if it goes through like a Visa system or some sort of bank, whatever. Like he mentioned, these transactions. Now, when we say transactions, we're not talking about like a purchase per se. We're talking about an interaction between code. So like a process being sent from one point to the other. It's a transaction. So those, and like he said, just every little step you do, just logging in, accessing, looking at the messages, seeing things, that all takes another step, that takes another process, another transaction going through that. That's just firing off every time. And we see it as magic, but really there's a lot of complexity behind that going on in the background. Next slide.
I still think it's magic. Speaking of magic, we've got the new quantum computers, and the difference between that and the IBM mainframe. So, who here is familiar with quantum? Nobody. Okay. Oh. So it's still pretty much magic to me, but the difference is it's really good for specific tasks like optimizing problems, data analysis, and simulations. Whereas, like we've been talking about, the mainframe is really, really good at all those input-output transactions. So we can go to the next slide.
And one thing to mention about quantum, a lot of people don't understand, that like the processing is completely different. We're used to a 1-0. Everybody's heard of binary, seeing the ones and zeros. Whereas quantum, instead of seeing a 1 or a 0, instead of having a yes or a no, it can do a maybe. So if a regular binary situation was a coin flip and you're getting either heads or tails every single time, a qubit, which instead of a bit, is like a spinning coin. So you got like maybe situations. They're still developing coding languages to try and communicate with quantum. Quantum is very powerful, and a lot of stuff is still hypothetical, but IBM is making advances with quantum. They've built quantum computers. Now, just a fun fact about quantum, they are very, very expensive computers. Or like they can range from about $11 billion. So not really something you can go pick up yourself from the hardware or from the store, but it is a big investment, but the power can be used on a wide scale. And so, like Dustin was saying, they're starting to plug in the power of quantum computers into mainframes.
Well, I actually skipped over my main point for this slide. The rise of quantum and the ability to access quantum compute as a user, you can access it kind of like a public cloud. You can get an ID and use it. So there's a lot of concern about harvesting data now and decrypting it later. With the IBM Z16, they actually have quantum-safe encryption schemes now that can be implemented, and that's what I was going into for the next slide. IBM has a couple tools that are set up to basically do the analysis and begin remediating those encryption schemes to make all of these transactions and workloads and data secure, so that bad actors cannot actually harvest and decrypt sensitive data. So that's really it for this slide. Another big modernization play is how has anybody heard of how COBOL is? It's old, it's legacy. Nobody's using it. Everyone's getting off of it. There's now some really interesting AI tools that IBM has come out with, Watson Assistant for Z and Code Assistant, that actually can do these conversions from COBOL to Java. So Java's another language that runs on the mainframe and can be also ported to other platforms. Getting the right workloads in the right place is kind of one of the biggest initiatives for modernization. So there's two very big new assets that are coming out on the market, and these are new as of like this year. Next slide. So this is more magic that I can't get too deep into because I don't understand it either. The next gen mainframe after the Z16, which is set to announce next year, is also going to be able to run generative AI on the chip. So the Z17 is what we're expecting it to be called. The Telum 2 chip will have AI large language model compute capabilities. So that's another major modernization play.
So now that we've got you guys, now that we've got a bunch of information out there, another point we want to kind of bring this to is there's a lot of job opportunities within mainframe, and so this list that I made here of the job types is just a very small list of the many opportunities within the field. And it's not all technical. A lot of people, when they think mainframe, when they think technology, they think, oh, I have to be really good at coding, or I have to be really good with hardware, and have a very technical mind. And that's only halfway true, because there's a lot of non-technical opportunities where we need people as well. We need people who can document. We need people who can, who understand the business and the sales side. You know, like right there, I mentioned the mainframe business specialist. That is an actual title because we need people who understand that side. We need leadership, and we also need people who can build education around this as well. Jeremy, did you have something?
No, I was just going to emphasize the point. So believe it or not, I started off as a physicist in my career, and that has nothing to do with the mainframe. But I ended up getting a master's in information systems and moved into the mainframe. And at first, I was a technical guy. I was going out and work with customers, helping to explain how software worked. More talking to, what the benefits of the software would be. Next thing I know, I found myself in sales. I'm not a sales guy. I never have been. I like to talk, but I don't like to try to sell somebody. And then, I thought, hey, how can I combine this? They want me in sales, and I like to talk, but I'm more technical. So next thing I know, I created this persona on LinkedIn called the Big Iron Guy, and I got my own little stress ball. And so yeah, I'm the Big Iron Guy. So look me up on LinkedIn. Create fun videos. But that's the type of avenues that you can go into with a mainframe background. Here's a fun fact. A majority of the mainframers that are in the marketplace today are retiring. There's a lot that are retiring. We're getting hit, Sono's getting hit, Broadcom's getting hit, and companies are begging us, hey, how can we help bridge this gap? How can we find more new talent? So there's a lot of cloud developers out there. There's a lot of server developers. There's not a lot of mainframe developers and mainframe employees. So if you're looking for an immediate job opening, mainframes really are one of the hottest jobs that are out there today, and they pay very well.
Yeah, and to that point, we mentioned that Broadcom, BMC, and Insano are looking for mainframers, and so are all of our customers, which spreads across like the entire Fortune 500 just about. Probably 90% of them need mainframers. Name a bank, any bank, a transaction company, they all need mainframers. And we're talking to them about that. Cell companies need mainframers. And IBM needs mainframers, and they need people probably not just within the software side of things, but they probably need help with the hardware development as well. I can't speak knowledgeably to that because I don't work for IBM, but I mean, if they want to keep the mainframe going, there's just so much opportunity, and you can kind of pick your passion. like Jeremy mentioned, he graduated as a physicist. I graduated here with my business degree. I did not graduate with a CIS degree. I did take some computing classes over at KU, but this is where I gained my knowledge. This is where I built up my education, and I also worked in the IT department, but it was, I didn't get a degree in that. And so, even with a business degree, we still need that diverse mindset. There's a lot of opportunity to get curious and to explore your passions.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. And the one thing that the platform doesn't have, and the one thing it needs the most, is your ideas, your new thoughts, your ability to take a look at things like quantum computing and generative AI and your interest of how to bring that to the platform. That's what the companies are hungering for. That's what our businesses are hungering for, is those new ideas. And that's what you bring to the table. And so when you walk in the door, you're fresh, you're looking for new ways to do things. And in our business, that's one of the things we look for, is who is out there and hungry and wanting to go learn it and bring new stuff to the table.
And Dustin or Christina, did either of you end up getting a CIS degree before starting in a mainframe?
Absolutely not. I started as an EMT on the ambulance. So I actually found an apprenticeship with IBM, and so I got trained up how to use mainframe, basically just doing storage administration, and that kind of propelled my career into the architect realm.
I was working on my CIS degree, but in the internship that we had been in, we had everything from school teachers to AT&T cell phone reps to you name it, we probably had it. The biggest thing about mainframe is if you're willing to learn and continuous learn, that's the big thing, because it's ever changing. Something that might have been 2 years ago will be different tomorrow, and you have to be able to adapt to that. So if you enjoy learning and constantly learning, then it's a great job. There's no monotony at all.
Sometimes that's a bad thing.
Not for me.
Because you never know everything.
That's true. Yeah, you never know everything, and that's where it's the one really fun part about this is there's a really strong community within mainframe, and there's a big network as well. We're, even though Jeremy's company and BMC and Broadcom are competitors, we still connect and we talk mainframe because there's so many ways that we can help each other. We need the mainframe to stay strong, and we need. It helps bring business, and so it's lots of opportunity there.
Yeah, and to be honest, until I met Phil, I'd only met maybe 1 or 2 other Native Americans on the platform. Now, don't let that scare you away. Get that, make it competitive. Let's get a few more natives on the platform. Now, I've expanded that, doubled that. I know 4 or 5 people on the platform now that are native. But as the community grows, we need more natives in technology, and we got a great community here for natives on the mainframe. So, in fact, a shameless plug here. Me and Phil are going to be on a podcast next week that you might want to tune in on about natives on the mainframe.
Yeah. And if you want more information about that, we're happy to give that to you after this event. Next slide. So also one thing, as you've noticed, there's not a lot of mainframe degree programs. And so one thing that is being done with a lot of companies is there's some universities that are starting to teach mainframe classes. Now, and one of those is University of North Texas, and I just wanted to highlight them because we thought it was cool to see another university starting to teach mainframe. And that was something that was done kind of, they came together and they built the programs. And so, it's possible to potentially, maybe we could start helping teach mainframe here at Haskell. Maybe we can start bringing some classes here. But we need people to help get interested as well before that. Next slide. Here are some links to some free education. If any of you are interested in more, I can give out some more links to these. I've got some cards that I can hand out here after we're all done. We've got some swag for afterwards if you guys want any swag. And yeah, so these are all free opportunities to learn on the mainframe. In fact, with Z-Explore, you can start interacting with the modern forms of communicating with mainframe. And then the Z Enthusiast Discord, you can start talking to professionals right away. If you hop on there, there's lots of active mainframe professionals talking. If you have questions, if you want to learn more, sometimes people are looking for mainframe jobs, and you can ask about those, and they can point you in the right direction. In fact, a little shout out about the Z Enthusiast Discord. It was created by a friend named Stephen Perva, a friend of who actually works for Insano, and he's a friend of mine and Dustin's. And he actually designed these shirts that me and Dustin are wearing, and we thought those were pretty cool. He has a website called 7 Nines. You know, if you want to get some mainframe attire, you know, it's pretty cool stuff. And he actually created the Z Enthusiast Discord. So I want to give a shout out to Stephen Perva there. Next slide. And just another, so there's aside from the free education, there's actually organizations who help foster the mainframe community. The Linux Foundation is one of them. Also, Share is a big organization. It's unfortunate we didn't have this event before Share, the latest Share conference, because it was just in Kansas City 2 months ago. And the cool thing about Share is if you are a college student, your registration to come to their conferences is free. So their next one is going to be in DC. So if you've got a way to get to DC, you know, you can actually attend to the conference for free. And the registration for these conferences isn't normally cheap. It's like, what, $2,000 usually sometimes? That's not the specific number. But if you're a college student and you're registered and you're an active student in the university, you can go to these the Share conferences for free. So definitely keep see where they're going to be having. They have their conferences twice a year throughout the U.S. and they've even got a GSE which is like the European organization too. I don't know if the free registration applies to that one, but it definitely does to Share US. So cool opportunity there. If you guys want more information to see when these are going to be held and where they're going to be held, happy to send you that information and see if we can get you there. It's a great opportunity to meet a bunch of professionals and to interact more with the platform, learn more. Really, really awesome opportunity. And next slide. Questions and answers. What kind of questions do you guys have?
What sparked the most attention? Like, what caused the light bulb to go on or not go on?
So for me, I'm going for business administration, so I was a little curious about the mainframe business specialist position and kind of what that job would entail.
Cool. So business administration, yeah. I mean, even with that, I would say there's a lot that can happen. So with business administration, you got to think about the infrastructure of how your operations are going to happen, right? A lot of people I deal with, because I'm kind of more on the sales side, are people with business administration backgrounds, MBAs, people who are thinking of revenues, incomes, and out, things that are going out, but also what's keeping that whole cycle moving. So as you're moving through the business administration, one thing to think about is, what technology aspects are helping to make the things happen that I'm looking at, helping to keep the business operating and running. Other ways would be maybe going to sales. Think about how can what I'm learning about business administration apply to selling a piece of software. So the business mind would say, okay, well, what's my ROI? Why would I buy this from you? And what would that business person be thinking about? And so with a business administration degree, you'll be able to formulate how's the technology apply to the business. To be honest, that's what's made my career, is being able to tie the technology to the business outcome that someone's going in. And a business administration is a great way to start.
Yeah, and also like costs, taking in, what certain things are going to cost a business to offer certain services or software, like what's it going to cost for us to buy this software to help us, and like you mentioned, the ROI, what's the return on interest here, or return on investment. And it's funny, he mentioned the server farms earlier. I was recently talking to a professional who was like, oh man, our database is killing us because our electric bill is just through the roof. Because for those of you who don't know, to keep all those server racks, all those little individual servers cool, they're pumping out a lot of heat out the back, and so they create these wind tunnels, which requires a lot of AC power, and it pushes the heat out. It's expensive. The cost starts adding up. Whereas mainframes, they're more efficiently cooled. If you go to like a traditional data center, you'll see like the rows and rows of servers, you'll see the wind tunnels, and then you'll see the operating and being able to interact with them on the next row. But a mainframe data center, you're just going to see a mainframe, nothing really around it, and then another mainframe, nothing really around it. Sometimes they might have multi-cabinets, but it's going to be a lot more lightweight and efficient on costs.
I don't have anything to add.
Okay, I thought you did, sorry. But Dustin, did you want to talk a little bit more about architecture? Because that's a little bit more, I would say, drifting towards business as well.
Yeah, so from the architecture standpoint, so I guess we could start with really where I start with clients is, most of the time they already have their mainframe infrastructure, and also from that business perspective, they view it as a cost. They just see it as a cost, and a lot of times they want to get rid of that cost because it's one of the large ones and it's a single line item. And that's where understanding the benefits of the mainframe and what it's doing for your business is important. And then from what I do is I typically will take what those business requirements are or what the needs are specific to like compliance and regulations, in increasing business needs. Maybe they're growing, they need more transaction workloads, and so then we go and we size it, we get the proposal and everything for the larger mainframe. We put together the project to upgrade it, and then we also look at all of the accessory devices, so all the storage and networking. And so we look at all the requirements for that, and really just take each piece of the puzzle for that mainframe infrastructure and make sure that they play nice together.
And keeping it secure, right?
Always.
Tell us a little bit about working with customers for security.
So I've done ZOS, which was the Z operating systems. Basically, that's like your Windows operating system, only larger scale. Now I'm currently with the logical security team, which we do RACF. So what RACF is for is to make sure nobody hacks into the mainframe, making sure all the transactions are secure, making sure everything is up to date, including certificates, rules. We run reports to make sure that we're in compliance for audits, a whole bunch of different type of things. So the biggest thing is no matter what team you end up on a mainframe, you will always work with each other. Because there are times where I have to go to the ZOS team now and be like, I need this, this, and this. They come to me and say, hey, we need these settings for RACF. I go to the DB2 team for their certificates. So you're never by yourself. It's a huge team with a lot of moving parts. So even though I do logical security now, I did ZOS, but I'm my honorary network member because I work a lot with network. So I know a lot about their stuff too. So you're constantly learning all the little pieces You just got to figure out which piece you like the best and grow there. So, and we also have an internship program that applications are opening up in February. And if you guys want that information, you can get it from me. Phil has it as well. It's a paid internship. You apply for it like you would a normal job. Once the internship is over, if you've done your due diligence and passed everything, there's opportunities to have a full-time position. So that's something, if you want to connect with me or Phil, we have the information for that for Insono. It's called the Mainframe Academy. And that's something else that you can check as far as getting more information about whether or not, you know, with the Mainframe Academy, it kind of lets you see all the different little pieces, and you can kind of figure out which track interests you the most, instead of just going in and applying for one particular position, and then you get in there and be like, oh, I don't like this. So it's always, internships are great like that. So.
And Broadcom, we also have, it's not an, like we have our internships, but we also have what's called the Vitality Program, which is we'll take somebody with, who's willing to learn. You know, they do have to have a degree, but, and we'll teach them mainframe, and then we will place them with a customer. So if we have a customer who needs somebody working with a specific product and they're wanting specific skills, we will take that person and we will skill them up, and then we will place them with that customer, and then the customer can have the opportunity to keep them, and then continue to grow their career.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you know, coming onto the mainframe, I didn't know a thing about the mainframe. I really didn't. Like I said, I was a physicist. I kind of knew a little bit about computers, how things fit together. But when I got hired on the mainframe, they taught me from the ground up. They taught me, you know, how to. You know, I had to bring the enthusiasm and the hard work. But they put me through the right classes, put me with the right mentors. So don't be afraid to jump in, and especially, you know, even the gentleman on the back with business administration. You still have something to offer. And if you're willing to learn and you're willing to, you know, take it and take a look at computers and how the systems fit together, you know, the auditing piece for security, the architecture piece of being able to put the systems together, you know, all those different pieces, you don't have to know it walking in the door, and then they don't expect you to know it. They expect you to come willing to work and with an enthusiasm and a mindset around it.
And another really cool thing is you don't have to feel trapped in whatever area you get stuck, started in. You don't get stuck. Whatever area you get started in, you don't have to feel trapped there. So for instance, I started as a systems programmer. I liked it at first, but then after a while I was like, I'm more of a people person. I like talking to people and I like talking to customers. I was, you know, it was kind of fun to work on tickets and to be on call at first, but then it kind of grew old for me. And so when I was given the opportunity to become a consultant, where I get to sit down with our customers, really talk to them about our products, and really help them in the areas that they need, and just have a closer relationship, it was really appetizing to me, and I was really excited about that, and I've really enjoyed it. I've seen people go the other way, where they were a little bit more on the non-technical side, but they thought the tech was really cool, and they kept wanting to get involved with like test systems, and they wanted to learn that side of it, and so they started learning to code, and then they grew into more of a technical role because they didn't want to necessarily talk to customers directly. They liked working on a ticket system, and they liked working directly with the systems, you know. And so there's lots of kind of pick your flavor options within the career field, and lots of ways to kind of express yourself as well. Like Jeremy mentioned, you know, having a LinkedIn online presence, you know, and kind of having, you know, instructional tutorial videos. Like I've even done like video work for our company where somebody did did a demo, and they broke it down, and I went through and I edited it, and I took it from 30 minutes and I made it into 5 minutes, and I just highlighted on the key points, and I used video editing software, and we were able to share that with customers, and it helped bring value to them because it was easier to understand our products. And so lots of ways to get creative and have fun. Any other questions?
Hello, I'm Alex. I work here for GST. Brent, do you know who Brent is?
Oh yeah, yep. Brent taught me.
He talked about how you got an internship at Broadcom. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Oh no. I started at IBM with Dustin and Christina doing an apprenticeship.
How was that?
It was really good. Yeah, and as far as I know, IBM still does take apprentices and does still have internships. So, like we're not the only ones. We can talk more about our programs because we understand them a little bit more. But there's lots of opportunities and lots of programs out there. I mean, I don't think I'm the only one, but there's a lot of Broadcom or a lot of mainframers out there who get contacted often. So.
Yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of companies, Lowe's, Walmart, MasterCard, Visa, just to name a few, and each one of them have an internship program for the mainframe specifically because they really need talent. And so if you go on their website and you look, and hey, internship program, and you put you're interested in the mainframe, you're going to get a call back. I mean, because there's not that many people out there that know that the opportunity is so large. So, I was talking with, can't name the customer, I'll get shot or something, but I was talking with a customer and they said, yeah, we got this internship program, no one's applying. We're paying 15-20% more than the average developer and no one's taking the job because people don't understand that the mainframe is just another platform. You still got to learn it just like anything else. But they need enthusiasm around it.
And like those free resources that we showed earlier, in some cases I've seen this happen where somebody wanted to get into mainframe, they had a degree, they had been working in other fields, and they were like, I want to learn mainframe. So I sent them the free resources, and within a week they were like, hey, I've gone through a lot of it, I want more. So I sent them more free resources, and they went through those as well. And then they sent me a text message and were like, hey, I just saw a job opening at Broadcom. It's entry level. He's like, but it's for mainframe. He's like, and I've been studying a lot of it. And he's like, and I have some of the qualifications. And I said, apply, go for it. And tell them that you have been learning and studying mainframe and that you're passionate about that and that you want to keep growing in that area. So he did that. And now he works at Broadcom. And all he did was start. He had the foundation, he had a degree, he'd been working in some tech sales before, and then he just started learning mainframe on his own, and he didn't need to get into an internship. He just went right for the job, and he got it.
Yeah. In addition to the free resources topic, a lot of it is a lot more modern than you would expect because a lot of the previous issues with getting people interested is that green screen. When you think in the movies, you see the green text on the black background, and that's the mainframe. Now with ZOSMF, with the Z Explorer, that's the interface. It's basically VS Code. So you're using VS Code just like you would for pretty much any other development role. And to add to that, there's also a big initiative in most mainframe shops to start using like DevOps practices. So if anybody's familiar with those, you're keeping the same workflows if you're moving from a more open system role to a mainframe role. Development is kind of the way things are trending.
Right, yeah, and then they've also got other modernization tools like Zoe is a big one that is getting plugged in, and Broadcom is now supporting Zoe. But it's a really there's a lot of really cool things going on. Like it's not just like some technical people see it as kind of like an archaic learning old technology when that's not necessarily the case. In fact, I was on a project where we were containerizing. If anyone's familiar with what container technology is, like OpenShift and Docker, and we were containerizing some of our products and creating new use cases for our customers to modernize their environments and get more value out of our products. Any other questions before we wrap up? Well, if you guys think of anything, if you have any other questions, we're going to be hanging around for a little bit afterwards. Feel free to come up to us and network with us, and happy to answer more questions and help you in any way we can. Thank you for coming. And for those of you online, thank you for tuning in. And this will be available as a recording afterwards too. So thank you.
Probably just add that first page. Creature. Page.
Well, yeah, she definitely didn't have all the yes. How you did you put that video on?
Oh, really?